Hi, I'm Chris from Lone Aspen.
And I'm Jeff. Small game season just opened for us, and so we're very excited to bring you a video series on all of our tips and tricks and techniques for small game hunting. Chris and I have been living out here for years and doing this, but filming it is all still very new to us. So please bear with us if it takes us quite a bit of time to put this all together for you guys. Small game is really where it's at though, because it gives us this latitude to practice all of the skills that it really takes for long-term wilderness living. With small game, you get to practice your tracking skills and the flora and the psychology and the behavior of the animal and its habitation and recipes once you have the animal and hides and just everything all in one shot. And so small game is really our favorite, and that's what we supplement a lot of the food we buy and trade for with. Really what we want to talk about right now is the equipment that we use to do it. And we started out, probably most of you would start out with a firearm. Now this firearm, some of you may recognize, kind of a collector's item these days, and I've had it a long time and really beat on it. It's a single shot breech load, over and under, 22-410, holds the ammo in the stock, pretty cool little rifle. However, I used to have a semi-automatic 22, a very popular semi-automatic 22 that I missed because that rifle was 4 times as accurate as this one, and it actually weighed less the way that I had it set up. You see, what it ultimately comes down to is that 2 skilled hunters staying out here day after day after day after day can hunt out an area of small game very quickly. And even the large game, like when you shoot at animals, they move away from you. And so you will have to be moving with the animals if you stay out here a long time. So what Chris and I discovered very quickly is that speed, stealth, and mobility become paramount. Bullets can't be made in the forest. We don't have a lot of money because we live in the forest. And so we ended up moving away from firearms and into much more primitive methods.
Yeah, one of the first ones that we started playing with was the blowgun. What we use is what you'd call, I guess, a big bore caliber blowgun. I think they're .625. There's an example of the type of darts that we'd use. There's all sorts of different types of darts out there, made out of different materials, with different types of heads on them. But the thing about the darts is you can pretty quickly and easily make these out in the field. The blowgun I have is kind of built into the walking staff, and there's a whole kind of an arsenal of things in here. It's a walking staff, blowgun, and a spear, and some other attachments you can put on it, which is very nice to have out in the field. The blowgun is super fun to practice with. It's devastatingly accurate. It's a great tool, but it wasn't the ultimate thing that we were looking for.
Yeah, ultimately, for as awesome as a blowgun is, mine's brand name large bore blowgun that I've beaten so heavily it's now bent, and I just use it as a walking stick. Ultimately, when you get into your larger small game, the blowgun doesn't necessarily deliver the kinetic energy on target that you need. And so, we played with bows for a while, and bows were cool. And the thing is you hear us talk about gear weight and compactness a lot, and ultimately we ended up going excuse me, with the Sling Shot or the wrist rocket. Now this is a tool, man. For how much these things cost and the fact that it can fit in your pocket, the amount of power and flexibility in this little toy is just awesome. Highly flexible platform, man. You can do so much with these things.
They sell, of course, like the shot for them, the little metal balls you can buy in stores, which they're nice to have. But the cool thing, of course, out in the field, if you're out of the metal shot, you could use rocks. The ones that we use have these, there's 2 different kinds, but there's an arrow rest built onto them. Different types. You could have other attachments on here for fishing as well. But what the arrow rest does, of course, it gives us the ability now to shoot arrows out of this type of platform, which is just very versatile, and it's amazing. And it's nice to be able to switch between the arrows and the pellets or the rocks, because if whatever you're hunting might be on the ground, or if it's up in the tree, or what you're hunting on the ground all of a sudden climbs up a tree, say for a squirrel, you don't want to continue shooting your arrows at anything up in the tree. It's a good way to lose your arrows. So it's nice to have the ability to shoot arrows, but also the versatility to switch the rocks as well, because that's what you're going to be using when you're shooting critters up in a tree.
Check with your local game laws about what kind of spear fishing is legal and not legal. Here I got a Fiberglass Frog Gig, which I've used many times. I had to straighten these points back out. Now for you large game guys, you're thinking, yeah, it's a Sling Shot though. How powerful is it? Right now for rabbit and squirrel, we got our 35-pound bands on. I have a 55-pound band, and I assure you guys that this thing will sling an arrow just as hard as a stick bow with a 55-pound draw and 0% let off. It takes practice to aim, because unlike a bow, you have multiple angles to where you can be off, and so I'm a lot better with a ball than I am with an arrow. But what a powerful little weapon.
Mm-hmm. And this one's even got on the band this piece of 550 cord through it, and what that allows you to do is, like on a bow, you could use whatever little trigger system you want on here, just like you're using a bow. Some of the manufacturers out there, especially making these slingshots adapted to shooting arrows, they make these what they call takedown arrows, which, like it says, the arrow it screws apart into 2 or 3 different pieces, and what that does is make it really nice and compact to carry around out in the field with you. But we noticed it does kind of get in the way with just the flight of the arrow, it seems.
Yeah, if you guys have ever seen a slow motion video footage of a carbon fiber or an aluminum arrow in flight, or an atlatl dart is a very good example. The way it twists and warps is really kind of what gives it its accuracy, and its the joints in there just don't, the arrow doesn't fly right. They still work good, and they're really cool because they're compact and they break down. Personally, I go for a full-length carbon fiber arrow.
Yeah, we just use any normal arrow you'd use for your bow, and you could all your normal arrowheads. You could have your small game heads, your big game broadheads on there for whatever you're out there doing, depending the season.
You know, for you survival types, remember, trapping is what puts food in your belly, and hunting, even with the equipment we have, is still for sport. Everything we carry has to be very light, very durable.
And the great thing about using all these things like the blowgun or the Sling Shot, things like that, of course you don't have the big bang sound you get out of a firearm that scares off everything, which is one of the best features of some of these primitive hunting tools that we've been playing with.
Arrows can be made, darts can be fashioned, rocks can be collected and put in your pocket, and you will always have some kind of weapon. We're going to talk more about spears when we get into larger game. So we hope you've enjoyed this video. We hope you found it informative. Thanks for stopping by, and we hope you're looking forward to the rest of the video series on small game as much as we are.